name is Kelly. I work at the English language office in the U.S. Embassy, Moscow. Nice to see you again. I'm sure we have some friends of mine that I've met before, and then some new teachers. If you're not a teacher, that's okay. Today, I'll be talking about resources, especially for teachers, to help them with professional development. But again, if you're not, you'll learn some new resources that you may be interested in later. It's nice to be with you again. Last time I was with you, I shared some resources that you could use to learn English for free. And today I'm going to show you resources from another website. So last time, and many times throughout Russia, I've shared resources on americanenglish.state.gov. But this time, the professional development resources can be found also in another place. So let's go through and look at that website. Next slide shows the website. It is American English ETeacher. You'll see the website soon. It is, you can see it on this slide, in fact, aeteacher.org. There is a lot of information here for teachers that you can look at, that you can take part in, that you can use for your own professional development. At the next slide, we're going to be looking at what we'll talk about in the next several minutes. And so in this website, there are a few things I want to highlight. The first one is the ETeacher Program. Hundreds and hundreds of teachers have taken part in the ETeacher Scholarship Program. We have several courses I'll be talking about, and that's the program information you see on the slide. The second one, resources. These are American English live events. We'll be talking about those also. Those used to be called webinars. Now they're American English or AE live events. And the last one are the MOOCs. Massive open online courses. What a way to learn in these days. So in MOOCs, we have several different kinds of MOOCs that we offer. I'll be focusing on the ones we offer for teachers. So let's go to the next slide. Here's the website again, aeteacher.org. And MOOCs are useful. MOOCs are also flexible. As a learner of English, a teacher of English, we still learn. And so with the MOOCs, it is a good way to get into a course, to learn what we want, to skip around, and then to get out and maybe find something else to learn. So we'll talk about that. The difficulty with MOOCs is keeping your motivation up. So before we go ahead, I want to know from you, how many of you have been on the aeteacher.org website? How many of you have seen it? So just tell me in the chat box if you have, and we'll see how popular it is. All right, let's go to the next slide. The first thing we'll be talking about are facilitated MOOCs. Facilitated MOOCs motivate the teacher a little more because in this way, there is a teacher helping, there is let's say a facilitator or an expert working all of the teachers, all of the participants through this course. And so with facilitated MOOCs, we'll talk about that. These are a little more expensive to run, so there aren't so many offered at one time because they are facilitated by an expert. But as I said, everything here is free. So let's go to the next slide and look at what's being offered right now. Right now, we see that World Learning, our partner, one of our partners, is going to be starting to teach teaching grammar communicatively. If you've taken an eTeacher course, you know that this is one of the eTeacher courses, and they've taken that eTeacher course, that graduate level course, and turned it into a MOOC for a wider audience. So it is available from May 11th through June 15th this year. And the orientation opens up May 4th. So it opens up in a few weeks. You can sign into it and then you can take this course. You will be taking the course with the expert there, and they will be leading you through. I want to point out the final sentence on this slide, and that is that participants who complete all required activities with a score of 70% or higher will receive a digital badge and certificate of participation. So that is very important for you to know before you start, that there is something at the end that will show you that you have taken it. Grammar is very important for all of us. And yet sometimes when we focus on the grammar rules, then the students lose out on communication. When we focus on communication, sometimes the students lose out on communicating efficiently and effectively. And so this is teaching grammar communicatively, so the students communicate and realize what they're communicating because of the grammar that they're using. So this is an excellent MOOC for you to take, and it opens in a few weeks. And so I encourage you to sign up for this. Let's go to the next slide. These are self-paced teacher training MOOCs. These are also free, but because they are self-paced, there is no expert, there is no facilitator here. Instead, you will be working with people all over the world, and people will be at different levels, different points in the course, and you might find a good cohort to follow through together at the course. So let's look at what's being taught right now. The next slide, we have Iowa State University. Iowa State University, if you've heard of them before, you know with English language teaching, they are they are at the top of their game in ed tech. And so this was supposed to close quite recently, and yet we extended it because of current situations around the world. And so now you can enroll immediately, and it closes July 27th. This course then is about ed tech. It's about the educational technology that you can use in the classroom. Again, I want to point out the last sentence on this slide. Participants who earn 70% or higher will receive a digital badge and certificate as a mark of completion. So again, even though it's self-paced, when you finish it, you will still be able to receive that certificate and the digital badge. Those are both very important for careers, especially in professional development. Now, maybe you have taken these eTeacher courses. Maybe you know what they are talking about with the educational technology or teaching grammar communicatively, but you also have many colleagues who may not know about this. What can you do? You know, the failure rate for MOOCs is very high. Why? Because it's very difficult to be alone with a computer taking the course and not interact with your colleagues. And so if you have taken these before as an eTeacher course, I really encourage you to get together with other teachers and online, form a discussion group, do Zoom, do a Skype call, do a Facebook Live, bring your colleagues together and help them work through one of these MOOCs. Maybe now this ed tech, using educational technology in the English language classroom might be the best choice for you and a group of your colleagues to move through together. Or you might just fall back on the teaching grammar communicatively so that you and your colleagues can work together on new activities that include grammar, that include communication. But it is a way to keep your colleagues and you together professionally. So that's pretty important at this time. All right, let's go to the next slide. These are also available in the future as the self-paced MOOC. And so from World Learning, we'll have integrating critical thinking skills into the exploration of culture in an EFL setting. So this will be open from June 1st to August 24th. And then we also have from UMBC, very famous university for ESL, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, TESOL methodology in the fall, September 7th through November 30th. So maybe you're a little busy now. These are coming up in the summer and the fall, so you can take advantage of those. And then the educational technology is also open into the middle of the summer too. Let me talk about the critical thinking course. This is reflective, so it's asking you to reflect on your experience, reflect on your classrooms, and so it is a lot of analysis of what you do as a teacher and how you react in the classroom. The TESOL methodology will be a lot of methodology that you can use, that you can save and then start to use in the classroom as soon as you can. All right, so these are MOOCs coming up. MOOCs we have both facilitated, which means there's the expert there leading through and helping to grade and to give feedback. And then in addition, there are these self-paced MOOCs. They were created by universities. They were created with that expert, but the expert is not in the course anymore. But there are discussions and there are colleagues that you can meet going through the course at the same timeline as you also. All right, let's go to the next slide and let's move on to the American English ETeacher Global Courses. I saw some comments that a few of you haven't taken these or may not even know about them. So these are graduate level courses for English teachers. And they've been around for many, many years. And I hear wonderful things about them from teachers. They're intensive, but they're very good. So these are the classes that we offer almost every session. We have a summer session, a fall session, a winter session, and a spring session. Right now, we've just finished finding our candidates for the fall session. And so in a few months, we'll open up recruiting for the winter session. The winter session usually starts in, I want to say December or January. So you can see that there are many courses that we offer and many universities and educational organizations that we work with. Let me go on to the eligibility and who is who can take these courses. These courses don't cost the teachers, don't cost you, but they do cost us. And so we offer scholarships for them. So it is a competitive process. We try and give out as many scholarships as we can every session, but it is competitive. And so we look for the best candidates each time. So here's the eligibility, computer skills and academic skills. So if you're following this online, you probably have what you need to take this course. Each course is about 8 to 10 hours per week for the coursework, the reading, the discussions, the writing. That's a lot of time. in a regular school week, let's say in the fall, you're teaching full time, or you've got your private business, your private language school, and then to add 8 to 10 hours a week of, let's say, non-interrupted analyzing and thinking and reading might be a little difficult for some people. And so they try and arrange their schedules so that it doesn't become so difficult. But 8 to 10 hours per week. And you need to be a citizen of Russia. You need to reside in Russia also at the time of the course. And you cannot hold a dual citizenship with the United States. So for updates on this, and to see when we're looking for nominations again and candidates, see our Facebook page, the English Language Office Facebook page. You'll see the address for that at the end of this presentation. So someone did ask, is it free? And it is free for you who take it, but again, not for us. And so it's a competitive process, and we choose the best teachers. All right, let's go on to the next slide. And these are the American English Live events. This is another way to get your colleagues together. Together. To learn together, to create community, and to be on the same page with your colleagues. It's also a fun time of learning. And so there's many ways you can get together and professionally develop yourself, and this is one of them. So pretty soon, let's go to the next slide. We are going to have one of these on Wednesday. And so because of current situations around the world, we created a few more of these webinars so that people could get the information that they need now. And usually the information you need now deals with online and online teaching and online motivating. And so here we've got a presentation coming up on Wednesday, 2 times at 3 p.m. Moscow time and also 8 p.m. This is tips for engaging students in online English language learning. So the presenters, Dr. Joan Kang Shin and Dr. Jared Borup. These are very well-known experts. Dr. Joan Kang Shin, I've worked with her for several years, and she is very big in our field. She is also very, very big, quite a big expert on teaching young learners. And so this promises to be an excellent webinar for teachers who are teaching online now. Both in public schools and universities, and then also in private language schools. So please dial into this, and the way that you can find it, I'll give you the address at the end of the presentation. All right, let's go on. We have a whole series of AE live events coming up. And so here they are. We have different sessions similar to ETeacher. These sessions are given every other Wednesday. And so here, every other Wednesday at 3 p.m. Moscow time and 8 p.m. Moscow time, starting May 6th, so starting in a few weeks, and then finishing July 15th. When you read through this, we have many great experts here presenting. Neil Anderson, we're going to hear from him in just a moment. And then Amy Christensen, lots of overseas experience, lots of experience teaching students in English language. So these are just excellent presenters, and they should be very fun. Now these were created last year, so before the current situation became as it is, but still there are some things that you'll be able to apply online. Also, I was in an online class and saw jigsaw reading. Who knew that you could do that? Excellent. All right, so these are going to be happening and they'll be fun too. Again, watch them by yourself, but even better is if you have a watch party and you and your colleagues comment to each other together about what you're seeing, about your students, about how to make your classes better. All right, let's go to the next slide. What I want to do is give you a taste of one of these webinars. These were done, the one that we'll watch was done last year. If you watch with thousands of other people, then this is something of what you'll experience. So we'll watch one by Neil Anderson. He was a president of TESOL International before, and he's done so much for our field. And he'll be talking about enhancing learner motivation in the EFL classroom. All right, so we know about him. That's usually at the beginning of the webinar, the live event. But then the other way that makes it fun is in the next slide, we see that there are viewer comments. Thousands and thousands of viewer comments, asking questions, answering questions, giving additional information. And these comments are really what makes the webinar so much fun, that you could connect with your colleagues around the world as well as professionally develop yourself. And so if you do hold a watch party, then you and your colleagues together can connect online. And the comments will be for you and your colleagues. And if you don't, if you connect by yourself, then the comments will be around the world as we see on the slide right now. All right, let's watch the video. And then you'll get a taste of what this is.
I've been looking forward to our opportunity to interact today and discuss the topic of enhancing learner motivation in the EFL classroom. We as English language teachers are part of one of the most exciting professions in the world because daily we have the opportunity to influence the lives of the students that we work with. I'm looking forward to our discussion today, and in particular, in meeting our session goals. There are three things that I'm hoping that we can accomplish today. First, as we finish today's session, you'll be able to justify why motivation is an essential part of our planning for student learning success in the classroom. Second, we will explore a four-part framework for fostering and sustaining motivation in our classrooms. And perhaps most importantly, number three, we will examine practical ideas for applying the framework in our classes.
Great, let's get started.
Okay. As we get started, I think it's vital that we all understand a definition of motivation. So let's throw out this first question to our participants. How do you define motivation?
All right, everybody, we'd love to hear from you. How do you define motivation? Okay, we see lots of answers coming through. Connecting with students is one participant's answer. Supporting one another through instruction. We have connecting with one another. We have lots of the theme of connection coming through.
Connecting and supporting each other are key to understanding motivation. Motivation comes from the Latin verb movere, which means to move. So motivation is what moves us to take action. And I think that it's important for us to understand that definition because as students take action and we take action, we're demonstrating our motivation. A second question I'd like to throw out to our participants. Why is the topic of enhancing learner motivation important for us to consider in this webinar? There are lots of things you could be doing right now, Why is this topic important for us today? Let's see what you have to say.
Yes, let's see what you have to say. Why do you think the topic of enhancing learner motivation is important for us to consider? We look forward to hearing from you. Okay, we have one comment saying, getting students interested. Providing authentic information is interesting for students, from Ruzana. From Ahmed, giving zeal and zest. I like that. That's great.
Ahmed, that's a great response.
Yeah, so I guess the theme here is that if we provide our students with topics that are interesting, that they will be motivated.
Yes, and we want to make sure that we're doing all that we can in our work as English language teachers to be motivated ourselves and to help our students to be motivated in the learning process. One additional question that I want to throw out to everybody, and this one I think is really important. Whose responsibility is it to motivate students?
That's a great question. What do you think, audience? Whose responsibility is it to motivate students? I'm seeing a lot of, it's the teacher's responsibility. Some people are saying parents, family, community. It seems to me that everybody plays a role in motivating students.
Lauren, that is perfect for you to be able to synthesize the comments that are coming in, and everyone is identifying what I think is central to the response of this question. Everyone in an educational environment shares a responsibility for student motivation. The students themselves need to take responsibility. The teachers need to take responsibilities. Parents should play a role. Mm-hmm. Administrators at a school should take a role. Anyone involved in an educational setting or context can play a key role in helping to motivate our students. And today, we're going to look at ways that that can happen.
Great.
Zoltan Dornier is the leading authority in our profession of second language learning and teaching in regards to the topic of motivation. He has provided this quote to help us understand that early in our work with motivation, no one was actually taking responsibility for motivation of students in the classroom. So look at this nice quote from Dornier. He is highlighting here that by and large, promoting learner motivation is nobody's responsibility. Teachers are supposed to teach the curriculum rather than motivate learners, and the fact that the former cannot happen without the latter is often ignored. That's kind of a past view of motivation. Now look at this transition phrase here from Dornier. He says, my guess is that it is every teacher's responsibility who thinks of the long-term development of his or her students. So every teacher should be playing a role. And then when we look at that more closely, we should understand that teachers have to actively think about fostering and motivating student motivation.
All right, how was that? It was recorded. It was not live, unfortunately. So you didn't really get to see the comment section alive as it normally is. Also, you came into that video in not the middle, but about 5 minutes in. And so at the beginning, they talk about the live event. They introduce the speaker. They talk about the series that that particular live event is in. And then they start in with the content. The content usually takes about 50 to 55 minutes. So in all, it's about 1 hour. These are also recorded and then put online on YouTube. So you can find those also if a title catches your fancy and you want to learn more about that. All right, let's go to my last slide. This is the contact information. So if you have any questions, though I work in the English language office, I'm based in Tallinn. And so you can email me at relotallinn@state.gov for any questions that you have. But I'm also here to answer them right now. But let's go to Facebook. So this is the English Language Office, Moscow, ELO Moscow. This will give you all of the links for the live event. It will give you a lot more information that you can use for teaching, Teaching Corner, a lot of resources that your students can use. So there's so much information on our Facebook page. Also, the next website is the ETeacher.org. That's where you can find the information about the MOOCs, about the global ETeacher courses, and then also the live events. And then finally, Facebook. This is American English for Educators. This is a worldwide Facebook, so it's not just the English Language Office. We take a lot of material from there for our own. So if you want, you can go straight to the source. So if you're interested in taking the MOOCs, then you should go to aeeteacher.org and look them over and sign up for them. Again, we've got one facilitated one, but we've got others that are self-paced. If you're interested in the ETeacher scholarship courses, those graduate level courses that take about 8 or 10 hours a week, then you want to pay attention to ELO Moscow, our Facebook page, and we'll tell you when we're recruiting again. If you're interested in the live events, then you can go to aeeteacher.org or American English for Educators, and they'll give you the link for the Facebook Live, and you can follow it right there. Many of these you can do with your colleagues. We're not supposed to be in the same place together. We're supposed to be social distancing around the world. But there is physical distancing and then social closeness by doing things online. Get your colleagues together, watch something at the same time wherever you are, and comment throughout it. That would be a wonderful way to connect. We often think as teachers that we are alone in the classroom, us and our students, and that's true, but we are all together in our professional development. And so you can do this with your colleagues to make it better. All right, let me know what questions you have about any of the resources that I've shown on here. I saw one about the TOEFL test. Very exciting. There's also another Facebook page for learners of English, and you can go there and find out about the TOEFL test. Also, American English for Educators, you can find more on our americanenglish.state.gov page, specifically about science in the classroom, history, economy, so those other soft and hard sciences that are part of the TOEFL test. Any other questions? I'm just waiting around, but this talk didn't take as long as the other one. But if you find more professional development resources after you've searched online, share them with your colleagues, and they'll also benefit from this. If there are no more questions, then we're finished, but I'll leave it up to the facilitator to decide that. All right, I understand another question is coming. All right, thank you so much for your time, teachers. Hang in there a few more weeks. Pavel asked for links to the next sessions. Maybe that was that for me, or was that for the American Center in Moscow? The link for any of what I talked about is on this final page, and you can look at those. Again, any specific questions for me, if you're finding it hard to find the information that you really need, Relo Tallinn at state.gov. Yes, another question. The courses for teachers is free. The teachers do not pay anything except for a lot of time. But then I understand that the time and the effort is definitely worth it. All right, thank you so much. I hope you have a good evening. Bye-bye.